I'm sure it won't be at all surprising to my fellow YouTubers out there who also have gun channels that the vast majority of questions I get on my channel are in regards to concealed carry. How do you carry? What holsters do you use? What kind of gun do you carry? What calibers are efficient for concealed carry? Just tons and tons of questions about concealed carry. So I thought I'd do a little series of videos here about concealed carry. The first of which I'm going to deal with kind of the mindset that I find that most people fall into when they're deciding to conceal carry. And I'm not talking about are you motivated by fear or blah blah blah. I've covered a video on before. I'm actually talking about the people that are concealed carrying for whatever reason. They have a good mindset, but there's two categories I find they usually fall under. Now I'm going to try not to repeat things that I have said in previous videos in this series, but like I say, the first video here is going to deal with the two broad categories that I find that most people who conceal carry fall into. And those two categories are the stop the fight group and the fight the battle group. So I'm going to discuss that in this video. Okay, the first group I'm going to talk about is the stop the fight group. Now these are people that for one reason or another have decided that their main goal, which actually I think it's everybody's main goal, is to stop the fight when you're confronted in a confrontation. But these are the people that have decided that they're not going to take it beyond that. Their whole goal, they're not only their primary goal, but their whole goal in self-defense is to just stop the fight. They realize that having a weapon of any type is pretty much going to end most conflicts. Most people that attack you aren't usually looking for fair fights. They want to feel like they have an advantage. So if you can present an advantage they didn't know about, such as a handgun or something like that, that suddenly shifts the odds in your favor, chances are that's going to end the fight. Also, if it comes to firing a shot, chances are a single shot fired, if you hit the person, is going to end the fight also. So these are the type of people that don't concern themselves too much with higher calibers. They don't concern themselves so much with high capacity, because like they say, they understand the statistics that almost any gun is better than no gun, and almost any gun is going to end the fight. And then if the gun is fired, almost any gun actually shooting someone is going to take the fight out of them. Speaking of someone who that knows what that feels like, it takes the fight out of you, trust me. So these people only are concerned with ending the fight. These are the people you find that carry their LCPs, they carry their little C camps, they carry any like 38 snub-nose revolvers. They're not really concerned with high capacity. They're not concerned that it be a big booming bullet. They know chances if I get into a fight, it's going to be over quick. I'm going to fire one or two shots. They don't have to be large calibers. Probably not going to be killing someone or going up against a 300-pound meth fiend or anything like that. So they are quite happy with the smaller caliber guns and the smaller capacity guns. And these are people that tend to worry more about comfort than they do anything else. That would be a different topic when we're doing things. But these are people that carry small guns. They're comfortable with them, both physically and mentally comfortable with the gun. And that's the first category of people that I notice people fall into. Okay, now the fight the battle people. Now these are people that have considered, I'm not saying these are people that are more bloodthirsty. They're just people that like to consider beyond. Like I said, the people that are in the stop the fight category, they're prepared for 99.5% of all things that could ever happen to them. Now the people that fall into the fight the battle category, which are the people who consider maybe this fight's not going to be over in one or two shots, I might have to shoot it out with someone, I might have to take cover, blah blah blah. These are people that want higher capacity, maybe even want more powerful. They may be happy with a 9mm that has 17 rounds, or they may want a 45 that has 12 rounds. They want a combination of more power and more rounds, being in different combinations. And I can't really discount these people, because I know a person here in Oregon that owns a bar, and the only reason he says he's alive today is because his Glock held 17 rounds, and the guy shooting at him, the guy that tried to rob him that started shooting at him, only had 8 rounds in his gun, and he ran out of bullets before he did. So, and he says that's the only reason he's alive. So you can't say these people are all crazy, because they think they're going to get in a gun battle, because things happen. And just because you're planning for something that's very remote possibility doesn't mean you actually think it's going to happen. It just means you want to be prepared if it does. Like, I don't think my car's going to break down, it's brand new, but I still keep stuff in it in case it does. So these people that fight the battle people, like I said, the people who want to end the fight, they're ready for 99.5% of things that happen. The people that want to be able to fight the battle, they are people that want to be ready for 99.8% of the things that could possibly ever happen to them. Granted, it's they're just a tiny bit more prepared, because they're only prepared for something that's so unlikely and so remote, but still they're prepared for it. So they are a little more prepared. And that means a lot to some people. So the fight the battle people are the people that will carry, like, your SIG P229s, your high capacity guns, your FNs, the line they have, the high capacity polymer guns. These people don't want 6 rounds of .380. They want to know if they're pinned down somewhere. These people also tend to usually carry extra bags, extra ammo. So they want to know if they're pinned down somewhere, they've got 15 rounds on them and probably another 15 rounds in a magazine, so an extra magazine. They are prepared that if they get pinned down somewhere, they want to fight it out. And they want to be able to fight it out. They don't want to be the guy who runs out of bullets first, which I don't think any of us ever want to be the guy who runs out of bullets first. I want to be the guy who never has to fire my gun. If I have to fire my gun, I want to be the only one that fires my gun. And I only want to have to do it once. That's my ideal situation. But if I was ever in a situation where I was having to shoot it out with someone, I would not want to be the one that ran out of ammunition before the other guy. So that is a consideration that a lot of people take into account. And these are the people, like I said, that I consider the fight the battle guys. The win the fight guys, or the end the fight guys, they're just carrying the minimum they think they need. They just are happy to be able to just end any regular confrontation. The fight the battle guys, they think of that also, but they think one step further and they think, well, if I ever have to stay in a prolonged fight, I want to be able to. So those are the two categories I find that most people that conceal carry fall into in one way or another. That's not the only categories, but if you want to paint the broadest categories possible, those are the two I think that cover most people who carry. Now, this part of the video is the inevitable part where people start asking me, well, which one do I think is more correct, or which one do I do myself? I usually don't include this in a video, but since there's so many comments that come into that of that nature, I'm going to address that in the video here. To be honest, I'm a little bit of both. Because people don't always just fall under one category or the other. There's some people that are in between. It's a sliding scale. So I find myself, I'm very comfortable with a smaller gun with lower capacity because I realize that's going to deal with 99.5% of the things I run into. Or, I'm probably not going to run into anything. If I do, that's going to handle most of them. But I also like to be a little more prepared, and I also actually prefer bigger guns and more powerful guns, and I actually shoot them better, like them better. So I actually carry them when I can. Like right now, I'm carrying my Kimber 1911, my Pro Raptor. So I actually like a gun that has a little more power to it. Now, super capacity is not really that big for me. I do carry an extra magazine for my gun, sometimes, not always. So like I say, I kind of fall under both. And which one do I think is more correct philosophically? I really can't think you can throw any stones at either one. Because you can't say, okay, this guy understands the reality of the situation and he's willing to deal with the minimum needs of that situation, or what he thinks will meet most of his requirements. And he doesn't really want to put any extra effort into it beyond what he thinks will meet most anything he's ever likely to meet. That's fine. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. Like I say, just carrying a gun alone makes you above 95% of people out there. So, but then on the other hand, the people that are a little more prepared, it's easy sometimes to start saying, oh, these people are paranoid. Well, you're only paranoid if you're fearful of it actually happening and you actually think it's going to happen. Now, if you're someone who is fully cognizant of the fact that this is probably never going to happen to me, it's something that I don't really need to do, but it's something I just want to do just in case, or if it's just a personal preference that you prefer those weapons, then who's going to argue with you on that too? Now, there will be some people that'll say, oh, tin hat, blah, 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 you're just paranoid. It doesn't have to be paranoia. It can just be preparedness. So I actually think both camps are right. There's not a right or a wrong in that. I think just deciding to carry is the right camp. And then once you get into any categories beyond the fact that you decide to carry, there's very few of them that I think are wrong. I mean, there are some aspects of concealed carry that I think are wrong. Some people that do it for wrong reasons, some people who do it in the wrong way. But beyond that, I think just the fact that they decide to carry puts them closer to right than they would have been if they didn't. So I agree with both camps. I kind of fall into both camps myself, and up to you, for you to decide which one you fall into. That's completely up to you. Everyone is completely different in what they think is necessary and how prepared they want to be. So that's just a decision you need to make for yourself that no one can make for you. It's like choosing a gun. No one can make that decision for you. You have to make it yourself, and that's the same thing in this situation.